Welcome back. I'm excited about this conversation. We have Brian Bates joining us to talk about, the return of the football season and how to make sure everyone stays safe. Brian, you're the Director of Nursing of the Emergency Department for Banner Health. You're also the Chair for the Board of Directors with the Brain Injury Alliance of Arizona. You've got a lot of titles. What it basically means is you're a smart guy and you're the right guy to talk to about this topic. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, glad to be here.
So let's talk about, youth football. First off, it is, no matter how we cut it, it's a dangerous sport. It's a lot of fun, but it's also really dangerous. We see injuries all the time. There was already, college football was back yesterday. There was a few brain injuries yesterday, concussions, it seemed like. What's your advice to parents right now as we start another football season?
I think the most important thing is making sure that they're wearing the proper equipment, proper fitting equipment, right? If you're going to participate in these high-risk things such as football, then it's important to make sure that the equipment fits properly and that you're wearing it. And then also making sure, I would say, that they're using the right technique, right? So when you're tackling and things of that nature, make sure you're tackling the right way, not using the crown of your helmet and things of that nature that subject you even more so to that potential risk of traumatic brain injury or concussion.
Why is it so important to catch that concussion or brain injury the first time it happens instead of, I'm okay, I'm going to go back out there and keep playing?
Yeah, because there's different syndromes that you can get. Like if you have multiple concussions, then you can have longer lasting symptoms or you can have symptoms that never go away. So it's very important that if you think you've had those symptoms early on, even if they're very mild, that you rest the brain, because that's the most important thing you can do for it, is rest the brain and ensure that it fully recovers before you go back to those activities.
What are some of the things, if I'm a parent here, because if we're talking about youth sports, you see on the sideline, NFL games, college football, they got the doctors there making sure they're checking if there's a concussion or not. If I'm a parent and I'm worried about my kid, what's something I should look for to make sure that they're okay?
Yeah, some of the most common symptoms are going to be headaches, probably the most common symptom, or recurring headaches, confusion, difficulty concentrating, so maybe they have trouble suddenly concentrating at school when they didn't before. Nausea and vomiting may be common as well. These are probably, I'd say, the most common symptoms that we see in the emergency department.
Do you see it more this time of year when sports are back?
Really throughout the year, because it's not just sports related as well. You can get concussions from motor vehicle accidents, from falls. So we also see in the elderly as well from tripping and falling. So kind of see it throughout the year. Obviously it increases this time of year for sports related injuries, but really and truthfully I'd say we see it throughout the year for various reasons.
With what you do, how are you working with families on the education front and trying to help with this?
Yeah, so this is where the Brain Injury Alliance really comes in, right? So a big piece of this is how your recovery phase after this happens. And there's a lot of resources out there, not just for concussions, but any type of traumatic brain injury. There's tons of resources and programs that are out there, but people don't necessarily know how to get connected to those. And that's where the Brain Injury Alliance comes in. They help meet people wherever they're at in their recovery phase, and it's completely free of charge. There's no cost. And they can reach out to them and they help connect them with different resources and organizations that are out there to help support them in that recovery so that they can, no matter what level of injury they had, they can integrate themselves back into school or work or society or with their families.
I love what you said earlier about, car accidents, things like that, because I'll just speak for myself. I've had a couple of concussions in my life. I never played football, I played golf. And I'm still a kid who ended up with a bunch of concussions. This is something that can happen to anyone, any walk of life. You can have a brain injury like this. Of course, you put yourself into a sport like football, maybe you're increasing your chances a little bit. But this can happen to anyone, so this is really good information to have. So before we leave you here, give us a website somewhere someone can go to find out more information about this.
Absolutely. It's BIAAZ.org. That's Brain Injury Alliance of Arizona.org. You can also follow us or like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well.
And I think it's good if you go to check all of that out, to keep checking it out, because the research on this seems like it's always growing, always expanding. There's always new things to look for.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a great website. It's got a lot of resources there, a lot of information about traumatic brain injuries to really learn about the different populations that it affects. It's really great. It's a great organization.
Thank you so much for coming in. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.